I want to welcome everyone to the report back on the quality improvements workshop that we started last month, where we looked at the 5 S's. We looked at how we can improve cleanliness and organization, all the good things that are already happening in Madi Babu and just taking them to the next level. I want to thank you all for being here. We are so excited about what you're going to share. We've had a little taste of it already. We're really happy about all of your good work in making your lives more simple and giving more safety to the patients. So at this point, I'd like to introduce to you Dan Ogola, who is going to be welcoming everyone.
Thank you so much, Diane, and everybody in attendance, you are most welcome. We value your voice. We have been putting into practice the 5S. And what I can say is that the 5S approach is a simple but effective way of bringing quick improvement in working environment, as most of us have experienced. And they will be giving various testimonies and their experience with 5S. So you are most welcome. And Morgan will be sharing with us list of people who will be making presentations. And so what I can say is that this is a very simple but effective tool for bringing improvement. For it to be sustainable, if it is coupled with PDSA, that is plan, do, study, and act, then we can maintain the improvements we have so far made. The plan component has the aspect of, as I think it's not very clear, but it has the aspect of what needs to be improved. When you're thinking about, we must ask this very important question: what needs to be improved? What research or data for the current situation? So we are looking at as is to enable us plan for to be. So there are those two things that we usually use in planning. As is, so what needs to be improved? Then we think of the data around that, because what is not measured, we can't improve it. Then still under plan, so the part that I've said is that we have to assess the current situation and analyze it. Then still part of plan, we have to define what is expected to be changed and how we will go about that. The other aspect of plan is we need to define how and when you will accomplish the change. So that is a component of looking critically as is the current situation, as we plan for to be. Then for the things that we have planned, then we need to try them out as we have done with the 5S. Then we study the progress and results. Once we have done that, we move. So do is about trying those things as you have experienced with the 5S. Then we go to study, where we are asking, we study the progress and the results. Then we go to the final part, which is act. Under act, for the things that we have seen, we have experienced under 5S, some of them needed to be adjusted, some ideas needed to be adopted, or all the ideas that we had, if they were not making sense, we need to abandon them. So that is under act. And the circle continues. This is Deming circle, wheel. It continues, it's continuous. So that's what I can mention. The clear version of this will, once I get it here in Ukwala, I will share, and Diane probably will project it. So thank you so much, and you're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan. So you have been in that process, and today we're going to do some of that analysis and helping each other and celebrating and giving some more feedback, because it just continues, like Dan said. Thank you so much, Dan, for sharing that and for your leadership with this. And Dr. Morgan, thank you for all you did to mobilize these teams. So we're really excited to hear you lead your teams through this process. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Today we have 6 teams presenting. We've met a couple of times. Everyone is excited about their presentation. They're open to feedback. They're open to anything that the team might see in their pictures and have us do as another project. So without further ado, our number 1 presenter is Lydia. Lydia heads nutrition. She also heads the projects. And for this presentation, her project is the kitchen, which serves all our patients and all our staff and all our visitors. Lydia, take it away.
Thank you so much, Diane and the team, Dan Ogola, the MFK team, and for the introduction from Dr. Morgan. And straight away, I'll go to our project. As Dr. Morgan said, my name is Lydia Luvala. I'm the projects manager. I'm a nutritionist by profession, and I also take up the kitchen to support them. So that's why I'm leading the kitchen project. So straight away, I'll go to the project team. The project team consists of Paul Ouma, who is like our chief chef. We have Jakim Onyango. We have Simon Juma. We have Anno Pondo. Unfortunately, they are not here with me because they are busy in the kitchen. So I'll start off by presenting how our kitchen was before the QI. As you can all have a look, we have 2 fridges there between the 2 surfaces, between the working surface and the industrial jiko. We have a sink there. So you can all see how it was untidy. We have the gas there. We have 2 gas cylinders. We have the chair. We have some stuff behind there. When you look at now at a broader view, you can now be able to see the fridge. We have the working surface. We have the 2 cylinders. We have the charcoal. We have even one of our staff trying to organize some bread there. We have a flask at the other corner. So things are scattered. Then still further, there we are. When you look at the way the kitchen is arranged, we have the microwave that is not functional. It's like things are still scattered all over. Here we have the kitchen store, like right from where we have the main kitchen, we have a kitchen store. There we are, we have like bundles of baking flour on the floor. We have cooking oil, we have empty jerry cans of cooking oil. We have the sugars, we have the rice, and some of the shelves do not have we've not arranged the food stuff there. We have the store lady. We also have our project accountant who also doubles up as, who also supports the store. So on this particular day, I think that's the day we're working on the project. We met together and agreed on how we are going to make it look better. And that is where we started. Now, this is now the current kitchen. If you look at this place between the green cylinder and the working surface, this is where we had the 2 fridges.
Wow.
When you look at the extreme end where we had the pans, now we have the microwave. There is nothing there. We have now these appliances on this working surface. Remember, this is where we had all the stuff piled, hidden by the 2 fridges. We don't have the charcoal. We agreed that now the charcoal for the time being will be kept outside and only be used when need arises. If you look at the way we have arranged the top shelf, we have now the pans that are not being used. We've organized, we have the cups at one end, we have the plates at another end. I believe there's some order if you compare with the way it was. Now, back to our store. This is where the store had a lot of jerrycans all over. We organized the bundles that were at the floor. They are now arranged. We have arranged the flour in the shelves, and it is easy even for somebody to take stock. Here we have the 2 fridges that had been in the main kitchen. Now they are in the store. We have the rice and sugar, because they are in sacks. They are now kept on a pellet. So that is how, that is where we were. Now, I want us now to look at, to compare the two. The first one was before, see the way it was organized, while this is the second kitchen, main kitchen. Same view. There is some order in this one. And we have the second comparison. This was before, and this is after in the kitchen. So that's what we did. And regarding the feedback from the team members and others, one thing that came out, and I really want to echo what Dr. Morgan said, that kitchen looks nice after we had arranged. So he's among the people I got feedback from, and even from the team members, and from even the look that from the pictures that are presented, you can see the kitchen is more spacious, tidy, and easy to locate items. At least, you know, if I need a cup, this is where I'll go. If I need milk, this is where I'll go. 2, all the junks or debris were discarded, thus creating space for storage of items in use. So we discarded each and everything that was not in use. 3, it was very friendly and created that feeling of serenity. At least when you are there, you don't feel like you are crumpled up. There is that fresh or peace feeling that you get, especially with the new arrangement. It's more hygienic and it's more easy to take stock, especially when it comes to the food stuff that we're using, the stock of the items we have. It's very, very easy, because you know, if I need to know the amount of flour, we know where it is. We have the bin card, so that guides you. So anybody getting into that store at any time is able to know what is there and what was taken away, because we also generated the bin card that we're using every day. Now, under sort, 1, we sorted out things based on their use. All the items not in use, like cooking pans that had worn out and no longer in use, empty jerry cans that you also up there, defunct cooking stoves that were in the store, and jikos were all discarded. 2, the perishable and non-perishable foodstuffs were differentiated. We had to get a place for groceries and a place for sugar. So it was easy to know, and we differentiated so that they are all in their right place. And then utensils were sorted out based on their functionality. E.g., cooking pans were all kept at one place, the cups in their own shelf, placed spoons, and etc. Now, how did we do the setting in order? All items were arranged according to the frequency of use. Those not frequently used, like the large pans that you saw in the store, extra cups and plates were kept on the top shelves, while those frequently used were stored within reach. Now, the perishable and non-perishable foodstuffs was arranged in separate shelves, and what was to be refrigerated or frozen was kept in the fridge. The fridge that was occupying space between the working surface and the industrial jiko was taken to the store, thus creating space. Now, how did we go about shining? All the surfaces were cleaned, rubbish was taken outside, the dustbin was placed at a strategic place in the kitchen. This is where maybe like if you're cutting things like onions, peeling off the onions and what have you, we had a dustbin specifically for the food stuff. Then how did we go about with standardization? All the working areas and storage facilities were agreed upon among the staffs awaiting labeling. It's like we all agree, we involved everybody in the kitchen so that whichever corner we felt was suitable for a particular item for storage, we all agreed. And you see, when you involve team members, it makes it easy for them now to sustain. So under sustainability, all the kitchen staff and the staff in charge of the stores agreed that the new arrangement was going to be maintained and SOP was going to be revised to factor in the changes. Now, coming to challenges. The main challenge encountered was the separation of duties in regard to who was to keep the store key. Initially, the kitchen staff didn't have access to the kitchen store as the key was under the custody of the storekeeper who had moved to an office far away from the kitchen. Now, what we need to sustain the efforts. One, with the new changes that led to the fridge being kept in the store, to create space in the main kitchen, it was agreed that the chief cook work closely with the storekeeper so that the key is availed whenever needed. Two, all the bin or stock cards to be updated every day whenever items are used. Three, plans are underway to do away with the charcoal and have clean energy throughout. As we all know, charcoal, especially if it is used on daily basis and in a confined room, it can be hazardous. It can be hazardous to the user. So plans are underway to have the clean energy that is using the gas cooker all through. And then lastly, the kitchen staff are in the process of acquiring protective gear when working in the kitchen. That entails having at least a big apron that can protect them, wear shoes that are protective, and also have that headscarf to cover the head, especially whenever they're cooking. So that is what we had for the kitchen. Thank you.
Wow.
That is terrific. Wow. Thank you. So this is, we'll take a pause right now for reflections. Dr. Morgan, Bill, Dan, Mike.
And I want to tell you the thing I'm most impressed with your project. You've done beautiful work with this, and you captured the feeling of what this did for your staff. And what you had written down is it created a feeling of serenity at work. And who would imagine that something as mundane as cleaning up the environment could change what's often a stressful environment that we work in and make it serene. And that kind of gift you give your team to say, when you come to work every day, you get this feeling and it influences the work you do every day. So I think it's wonderful. And I love the pictures of your team in action doing this. And I would love to see a picture of your team all together celebrating at the end the accomplishment, because I know there would be huge and serene smiles on all of their faces. I can just tell from the work you've done.
Yeah, Bill, I'd like to follow up as well. You know, I've done a lot of 5S projects in various hospitals here in America. Lydia, I think that's one of the best projects of organization I've ever seen. I am not kidding you. That is phenomenal. Like Bill, I realized we need to now have, you know, there's actually a 6S, which is safety. Now we need the 7S, which is serenity. I can totally agree with that. And I would love if we do have follow-up projects, again, show us a picture, because I love how you not only thought about how to organize it, but how to keep it that way. I really appreciated the last few slides, how you're going to make sure it's maintained that way. And again, if we have another one, show us a picture in a month, 2 months, 5 months, to see what else you've done and how you've kept it that way, and what the people now feel about their workspace in a few months. Please, please pass on. That was unbelievably good. Truly.
Thank you so much for the compliment.
Lydia, thank you. You were very clear in your communication of why you made the decisions you made. Like, we're going to put this, well, first we're going to think what's used the most, what needs to be, what's perishable, what's not. Your rational thinking, and I can just imagine your staff together, because they're there all the time, helping you guys make those decisions about what's important here. And that's the beauty of this, is that often we don't take the time to just get together as a team and say, wow, how can we do this better? what would feel better? So it makes me really happy, Lydia. All the work that your team did, please congratulate them. I'm sorry they're not here with us. They always make really good food for all the visitors who come. And I know they're making that food for the patients all the time. And it's got to be one of the hardest jobs in the whole organization. My
Yeah.
mom was a cook, so I know, for a big organization. They work
So-
hard, and so please tell them how much we appreciate them, and we're happy that they have a more friendly and serene place.
So Lydia, I want to ask a question. Is there anything that you need to further or complete this work, or to keep it going, from Dan or your leaders or other people at Madi Babu? Are there anything you need to sustain your project?
I was sort of thinking you needed a second key
Thank you so
for the
much.
storeroom.
Well, we may be having some technical difficulties, but maybe another thing to consider, I think labels might help with the sustainability. And maybe what we need to keep all this organized and going is a label maker at Madi Babu that can support all of these projects to, allow people to mark what goes where. And that's a simple bit of technology that we can share that should help the sustainability. Lydia, you're back on. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Bill. Now, regarding sustainability, one, as Matibabu, I think we are getting more advanced. And one thing that I shared, which would really need a lot of support to sustain what we have done, is one, we need to move away from use of charcoal so that we can have a gas throughout. And that calls for buying bigger cylinders, because actually cooking throughout the day consumes a lot. So that one, it will have a cost implication briefly. And then two, we need to have sufficient cylinders, because we have to purchase them from far. So like we need currently we are using the 13 kg, whereas we need to use the 50 kg cylinder. And we need like around 3 or 4, so that whenever one is finished, one is easily replaced as we go to have a refill. That is one. And then two, I think for the staff, that is something that we're working on with the Matibabu team to ensure that they have the protective gear. And I think those are the major ones. And then also have, plans are underway, or we would need construction so that there's normally a place where you keep the cylinders outside the kitchen. Mm-hmm. There is I think a pipe, there is actually a pipe that is normally fixed to a cylinder that is kept outside. That is especially good it's meant for security. Like the way we are handling it right now because of the space, well, should anything happen, I think it can be dangerous. So we discussed with the team that we get the gas cylinders outside the kitchen, and then it is connected with a pipe so that we can use the gas in a secure environment. And also, two, we need to get another industrial jiko, a 2-burner industrial jiko, so that we replace now the use of the charcoal. So those are some of the key areas that we need to work on, because when I look at the store, it is sufficient enough for the time being. We just need to work on the kitchen itself and improve, especially with the energy, and ensuring that our staffs have protective gear. And I think when it comes to personnel, that is something that we can also discuss with the MFK team and see what do we do to ensure that we sustain where we are. But I think for now, that is where we are. We made some headways.
May I just ask Lydia, protective gear means masks and gown, or what is protective gear for a kitchen worker?
Okay, like they need to have an apron, that like if you look at the chef that we had, whatever he has is not really protective. They need to cover the hair. It is a requirement that whenever you are in the kitchen, you need to have that, the chef normally has a cape so that it's also, it's hygienic.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what we need, yeah.
Great.
And then we also need, we normally have the fire extinguishers, which is supposed to be there should anything happen. Sometimes it just needs to be maybe somewhere around. And I think we have a store that has that. So we just need to improve and also train our staff on first aid. And I'm happy that our college has that program whereby staffs are trained on first aid. That is also another way of ensuring that our staffs, at least, they can handle an emergency before even reaching out to the doctor or the nurse.
Okay.
Lydia, it's really important too, when you have that fire extinguisher you don't have to actually turn it on, but have the staff regularly practice how do they use it. Because it's important to not just have the equipment, but know how to use it. That's terrific. Thank you. That's very, very thoughtful. Appreciate it. Dan and Dr. Morgan, do you have any insights for your team or comments for your team?
Dan, you go first.
No, I
Dan?
think the presentation is good. And the areas that you need support will give the administrative support.
And Dr. Morgan, have any comments and then lead us on to the next person?
I think everything has been said. The kitchen team worked really hard to make this presentation. And I'm sure everyone can see that there was some work put into everything. The challenges will always be there, and we'll always work as a team to improve on the challenges. When it comes to fire safety equipment, right outside the kitchen, there's a fire extinguisher. Maybe we just need training on how it is used and have it serviced more regularly. Any other thing, like we said, it's a continuous process, and we'll always continue improving the projects we have. Up next is the clinical team. The clinical team is led by Ken Guru, and they have a project which is going to be presented by Felix Odor. Felix, if you're in the call, please take it away.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, my name is Felix Odwal. I'm the Deputy Clinical Officer in charge, Matibabu. And I would like to introduce my team members first before starting, though our project will mainly be on how to arrange our consultation rooms properly or appropriately. So our team members, one is Kennedy Nyabwea, which is our clinical officer in charge. Second, Rachel Odoyo. Third, Melvin Juma, Purity Nafula, Collins Were, and Bernard Mutimba. So far, concerning the presentation, I was unable to present it since I'm using a handset. So I've sent the presentation to Dr. Morgan and also Diane so they can project it so that we can continue from there. Yeah, so basically my presentation was on properly arranged consultation rooms. As you can see, our main objective there was to show a picture of the consultation room before the project, and also to determine how we would apply the 5S in our consultation rooms. To start with, as we continue, there were some other photos of other consultation rooms which were taken by Collins Odera. He will share them later, but the photo which we took as a team was the one you can see at the presentation, whereby you can see our consultation looks like. You can see the coach, you can see our doctor sitting there, and also the consultation table, and also the laptop there, and those other things. So besides that, I would first go on what we wanted to do before showing you what happened after. So the first thing we did is to sort out, that is removing the unused, removing the unused and remaining with the useful equipment, instruments, materials needed in the respective consultation rooms. This was made possible by creating a checklist, which we created as a team. And we came up with what we need at the consultation rooms. Among what we needed was a stethoscope, a BP machine, a thermogun, a otoscope, a pen torch, a tongue repressor, a labeled bins, that is including red, yellow, and black, a safety box, prescription book, and a lab requisition form, and also not forget referral and medical forms. So after creating the checklist, we went ahead to set, that is setting everything in order, that is the equipments we need the most and those we do not need the most. So as the set, that is the 5S, which is set, one of our first point was to arrange the equipments, stock materials in the checklist in a manner that most used are put in a place accessible for immediate use when need arises. This was made possible by labeling the drawers, stock cabinets to avoid confusion and for easy accessibility, labeling the consultation rooms. There was also use of doors instead of curtain hanged at the door to ensure maximum privacy. There was also use of screens when examining patients on the coach. Then our next S was to shine. The part of shining here, there was we scheduled on cleaning. We had a cleaning schedule, which we had organized with the cleaning department to ensure that the consultation rooms are cleaned daily, morning before resumption of duties, and also examination coaches, floor and windows. And also damp dusting was to be done by respective incoming clinician before starting duties. That is all including cleaning of working desk and also the chair. At the next S was to standardize. This was to be made possible by ensuring all our consultation rooms have the equipment, stock materials needed that are listed on the checklist in the slide above. That is the slide 4 above. And for what we could do to sustain this was a supervision by departmental heads, including admin, timely maintenance of broken instruments. This was to be made possible by having a master procurement list, whereby if an equipment in the checklist is default or broken or not available, the department responsible is informed to allow for replacement where possible. And also next was proper handling of instruments to minimize breakage. There was also proper management to ensure cleaning, damp dusting done before commencing normal duties. And there was also constant supply of prescription pads and lab requisition forms by the HOD stock admin. And lastly, the challenges we had was some of the rooms had a poor ventilation in some consultations. There was also some lack of examination screen in some consultation rooms. There was minimal space in a consultation room, interfering with the seating arrangement of the patient and the clinician or doctor, hindering proper examination. So our way forward, we were looking at to standardize all the rooms by availing all the requirements in the checklist, proper ventilation, improving privacy and confidentiality, and maintenance of the consultation rooms with the help of the administration. So photos we took of one of our consultations that we worked on, since it's a project which is ongoing, was the ones in the slide, the last slide, the 10th slide, whereby you can see our coach If you expand, you can see our coach, examining coach. You can see a sink where you can wash your hands. You can see a bin there, and you can see a safety box. Then when we come to the desk, you can see we have a BP machine. We have a thermogun there, a sanitizer, glove, and on the other side there is a prescription book and also lab requisition form. Then on the drawer, if you maximize your screen, you will see we labeled the drawers, whereby the first drawer has laboratory and prescription forms. The second one has the medical tools, and lastly has the referral and medical forms. So basically our presentation was just short and precise, but still the project is ongoing. So as time goes by, we'll be able to present other consultation rooms. But for now, that is what we are able to present as at now.
That's terrific. Stop the screening. Felix, I want to ask you a question really quickly. Felix, how many rooms are there?
We have 3 rooms.
3 rooms. Okay,
3
terrific.
consultation rooms. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your report. That's terrific. That's really wonderful the organization you put into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well presented. When you looked at the list, I love the list of the equipment that you needed. Do you have everything that you need for every room?
I wouldn't say we have all the equipments. Like for instance, the BP machine, you'd find not all the consultations have the BP machine. So that's why I would still say it's still a project which is ongoing. And as time goes by, I think whatever is in the checklist will be made available. Not all that is in the checklist is available as at now.
Got it. Got it.
So it sounds like to me, in order to sustain this project, you need to kind of complete the stocking of every room so that you have those things, because I think it's going to be a challenge if it's borrowed from one room and goes to the next. It's always going to be a mystery as to whether you have everything to get through the day. Whereas with your checklist, if everything is in the room, there won't be running back and forth, and there won't be missing pieces and things that have to move because another patient needs it. So I think that will be a critical element to sustaining this, is making sure that you have all the supplies on the checklist. But I love the project. It's very, very simple, and you can see the cleanliness and the order and what's going on there. And how does it make you feel when you're seeing patients now that your rooms are, or when you're working in a room that's organized and straightened up like that? How does it make you feel about seeing your patients?
It makes me feel free on seeing my patients. I just feel good because the patient also, when he sees the consultation room is clean and neat, the patient also feels good, because if a patient comes and find the room itself is it's not neat, the patient will actually judge you by just that alone. We say that if the room is not neat, how is this facility operating?
Does it also give you more confidence when you work in an environment like that? Yeah, so it gives both you and the patient get confidence out of this work, and that's very important in medicine.
Yes.
I feel the same way, Felix, that having the checklist gives you a really good chance of sustaining it. And I totally agree. If you come in as a patient, if the room is disorganized, how will they think their care is? It's kind of hard to imagine they believe their care will be highly organized and careful if you can't keep your room neat and careful. Yeah, I totally support what you've said. It's brilliant.
So I'm interested in the decision that how your team, I'm impressed that your team came up with the decision that each person is responsible for dusting their room, and part of the tidiness that you're responsible for that yourself because you're the one who works in there. But just can you talk us through the process of your team coming to that decision? Because I often people, we work in environments and we all assume there's somebody walking around behind us cleaning up, and we never think about it, and we're frustrated when it doesn't happen. But can you tell us about that process? Because I think that's really key to identify that it's each of us ourselves have that responsibility to all day to keep that cleanliness there.
It's basically what we did was more of an individual. We had a meeting, first of all. During that meeting, we came up with the idea that at least each and every individual should make sure that they do damp dusting in the areas of work. That came about because we find that even you as an individual in your house, you don't just basically stay in a house without cleaning the house. Even if you have a maid, there are some places that the maid doesn't go to. You have to clean those places. So basically, we say that it's an individual responsibility to make sure where you work on is clean.
Excellent. Yeah, just clarifying that so everyone's on the same page with it is great.
Felix, I want you to know some good news. We have some stethoscopes to deliver to you guys. So
Thank you.
don't buy them. We have, I think 6 are on their way. So
Okay.
you'll be getting those. This is a terrific report. Thank you so much. I'm curious, you also mentioned just the space is small. That's a hard one to deal with, and also ventilation. You have any, does the staff have any ideas for that?
Okay, we have the areas where the space is small. We have just used the minimal space to make sure everything fits, and also to make sure that it's not damp, and ensure that it is just basically clean always. Yeah.
Good. Is one of the rooms that you're talking about, there's a room where a lot of the counseling goes on with pregnant mothers? Is that also one of these rooms, or it's right next to the pharmacy in the big round building?
No, that it's not that one. There were one of them. It's just inside the outpatient department.
Okay, only outpatient. Okay.
Inside the reception, the outpatient wing.
Great job. Thank you so much. Tell
So,
your team thank you.
Yeah, and one thing you might go back to your team and talk about in follow-up is it's good that there isn't a collection, a hodgepodge of things on the wall that don't make any sense or not thought through, but there might be some positive health messages or a statement of the mission of Madi Babu Hospital. There might be something that each of the rooms could have on the wall that you decide is really the kind of message that you want to create, set the environment where you're going to be consulting with your patients, and something that might enhance it. And I'd give it a lot of thought, and it's not a lot. It's like one thing that kind of gives a focus to the room. You don't have to do it, but it might be something to consider to further enhance that healing environment that you're trying to create.
Actually, that we have also done that in some consultation rooms. We have certain guidelines on the management of patients, and also we have what we call the guidelines, the MH guidelines on the top 10 diseases, among others. But we have them in some consultations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dr. Morgan and Dan, any comments for the group?
Allow us to move to the next presenter,
Thank
who
you
is
so much, Felix.
the team. The team is a pharmacy team. This is the Ukwala pharmacy. Matibabu has 2 other pharmacies. That's a wholesale pharmacy and Ugunja pharmacy, who will present next time. But for this particular meeting, we have a pharmacy led by Nick. It's a team of 3. Nick, there's Joseph Osida, and we also have a volunteer. So if Osida, you're ready, please, the floor is yours. Okay, I'm not seeing them on the call. The next team to present is admin. The hospital administrator is Julius. The project will be presented by Lucy. Lucy, take it away.
Hello, good evening.
We have the pharmacy with us, so let pharmacy present first. Nick and Osida.
Good evening. Yes. Yes, this is Osida, Joseph Osida, working in pharmacy department. Hello.
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 Okay, we have Nick, who is the in charge. And I would like Dr. Mugan to share with us the screen of pharmacy.
Diane, we shared the screen. We shared the pharmacy pictures with you, if they could be uploaded.
So these are the staffs who are working in pharmacy. The middle guy is our in charge, Nick, and I, Joseph Osida, and we have a volunteer working with us. Kindly proceed to the next. Collins, kindly share next. Now it's okay. So this is our pharmacy, and as you can see on the screen, sorry, this now our pharmacy, and as you can see, this now the working area, whereby you can see all sorts of drugs here. You can see antibiotics, NSAIDs, a lot of them, anti-helminthes, and this was when the project had not come in. And for somebody even to sort out which drug is needed, and also when you are fatigued, you can make a very big error. And kindly share the next one after. This one was before. Okay, here again was an area whereby we dispense drugs. Those drugs which are in larger quantity, we distribute them into portions which are needed. So this area was before on our working area. You can see everything is there, including the cartons. It was so untidy. And after that, we did a thorough arrangement. We rearranged everything. That's the next one. Can you bear with us? Thank you. Okay, so this is now the working area. I had shown you the previous picture before we had done an arrangement. So you can see the shelves are here. Drugs have been put into their places very neatly. So you can just go and get the drug which you need. And sorry. And the working area now is so conducive. You can just go there and identify the product which you need, which has improved our efficiency in terms of working. proceed to the next one. No, we had seen that. We've already seen that. And now this is our store, the main store. This store was set up a year ago, and we came up with this idea so that it can help us to store the bulky goods, the bulky products. And as you can see, our store, it is well rearranged. You can see here we have bin cards. These bin cards help us to, when we need a drug from the store, we just enter the number, the quantity number we want, then we see the remaining. And these drugs have been arranged according to pharmacological action, whereby if you need the NSAIDs, you can get them. If you need antimalarials are here. DDA drugs are also here down. And so it is a well-controlled place. And as you can see, the stock which are here, this is just a buffer stock. So if we add more commodities, it means that we will need some shelves, more shelves to accommodate our drugs. This is also part of our store, our main store. So yes, where we store our drugs, and it gives us an easy work because we cannot store all the drugs in a dispensing pharmacy. That's why we came up with this store. But still, it is not spacious enough as we will require. And this serves because you can see the drugs, like here we have arranged the drugs until it is almost at the top. So they can easily fall down and brings a lot of, it can cause a lot of damage, and that one also give us loss. And so in our store, we need to have a fridge, because some drugs need to be refrigerated. And as you can see, we don't have a fridge in our store. We only have a fridge in our dispensing area. But at times we may need, we keep some drugs in the store that are refrigerated. So that one should be looked into. And I think that is what we all need. As you can see, this thing might look minute, but this is a room temperature gauge. So every morning we go and check the room temperature. We record it in the morning and in the evening, so that the drugs should be stored at a given room temperature. And also cleaning is being done every day to ensure that the area is neat. Yeah. So that is all with our store. But unless somebody has a question that I will respond to. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a terrific report. I appreciate all the work. It's the before and after is so different. You know, when you say you must feel, you know, relieved, and that's really great to hear. I wondered, those blue sheets, those blue papers, that's where you mark if a drug is taken and how many are left. I saw blue papers on the shelf. I take it that's what that is. And that system
Yes.
seems to work. Yeah.
Yes, those blue papers are bin cards.
Yeah.
These bin cards help us to know the quantity which we have at hand, and the quantity which should be restocked. So it helps us to manage the pharmacy so that we cannot run out of the drugs.
Yeah. And I suppose it
Yes.
also has the dates for keeping them fresh, etc.
Yes, thank you.
Making sure they're fresh. That's terrific.
So that's excellent work. And you know, with those sheets that you have, One thing I think of, it looks like you organized what you had on hand, but a future process that might enhance the sustainability of this is to look at some of the levels of medication. You know, look back at how much you're using in a month, say. And if you have a large section of shelf space and a lot of stock of a medication that's being used less frequently, you might make some adjustments in how much you keep on hand. And it will save on shelf space. It might prevent expired medications, and it allows you to operate more efficiently. I'm sure that you've kind of set your levels based on that to start with, but now that things are organized and you can see them better, it might be a good chance to go back through and reassess how much space you are giving to each drug. And, you know, are there areas where you have a large amount of stock just sitting there on the shelf, taking up space, where there are other things that are moving through quickly that you're having to restock more frequently. So this gives you that real opportunity to do that because you can see what's going on.
Okay, thank you. I'll improve on that.
I have just 3 quick comments. One, I really appreciate in all of these presentations your openness and honesty of showing things that, you know, look a bit disorganized. It's like allowing someone to look at your sock drawer. You know, it can be embarrassing, but how do we get better? I just love the fact that you're open enough to say it wasn't perfect and we have done better. That's all anyone ever asked for. So thank you, every one of your presentations, for doing that. 2, it does look like one of your big challenges is just space. I saw your workspace in the pharmacy. I saw the sign on the wall that said workspace, and it's a tiny little counter next to the sink. That must be a big challenge, because if you don't have space, you know, it's very hard to keep things organized. And it's just a thought. I think you totally recognize that. And third, to just go back to something Bill mentioned before, your storage room is actually quite lovely and well organized. But what I wonder, I didn't see labels. And if you use all of one item, how would someone coming back know where it then belongs? And I just wonder, do you need labelers? I mean, that would probably be something we could help you get if you don't have them, because it feels like long-term, if you don't have a label on it over time, things will become disorganized. What do you think?
Okay, labels are needed, but for the staffs who are working there, we are well conversant with the communities we are dealing with. And also each and every drug has been labeled and recorded in bin cards. So if you go through the bin cards, you see, let's say paracetamol. You see this is paracetamol. These are the quantities I received. These are the quantities I've spent. And this one is the quantities which are remaining. So it is not that tiresome to us for those who are working in it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, and pharmacy lends itself to that standardization of, you have to keep track of what you're doing. And so you have to know when you're running low and when you need to reorder. So, you know, you already had that part of the organization down with the bin cards, but this, I think, just allows you to see a little better what's going on.
Yeah, bin cards we have, and also we have a backup, which we are using software to dispense, and also a software to receive all the drugs and commodities. So we can get all the reports, we can generate all the reports, the drugs which has been spent and those ones which are remaining. So this one can help us to maintain the restocking. Yes, thank you.
What I wanted to add, if you can hear me, is that the local regulatory body requires us to mark all the shelves where the drugs are. So if you have antibiotics, it needs to be marked that these are antibiotics. If you have a DDA cabinet, it needs to be lockable and it needs to be written that these are DDA drugs. So that is something we can do internally. And next time we have this meeting, we'll have all our shelves marked appropriately. Thank you. So if we don't have any more comments, I saw Lucy was ready to give a presentation. Lucy, if you're ready, we're ready for you.
Okay, I will start by sharing my screen and introduce our team. We took our project in the reception. And because it is the first place, all our visitors, patients, and any other person sees what we do. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, now our team, this was our team. Christine Olo from the far right, Julius, who is the admin, Lucy, I myself, Rispa, and Collins Udera. Now, I will start by saying a story that in African culture, how do you know that somebody is dirty or a woman is dirty when you get into a house? First of all, you will meet a sufuria at the door. Now, you will realize that this house is disorganized and it's very dirty. If you see our picture here, this was before the sorting and arranging. There is a bucket, jerry can, unneeded seats, bag. There is a dustbin and a liquid soap container over there. Up in the reception desk, we have books opened all over. We have files. We have sheets, the floor sheets, and so many other materials. So our objective of choosing the reception was to make a conducive environment for all our visitors, our patients, who are our wealth. The reason why we are here is because of our patients and also our own staff. In relation to what they see when they get at the reception, in the relation of what they smell. If it is dirty, of course, they will smell and they will see, starting from the floor and the entrance. The second objective is to make an eye-catching sight to all our guests and patients. The second picture is after sorting. What did we sort? We did put the files in their right place. We have the cabinets and the admission files were put inside the cabinet where if there's any patient who is going for admission, we get a file from the cabinet, then we make the file for the patient to go into the ward. The sanitizers were put in the right place. The books which we are using, entry books, we have admission book, we have adult book, adult outpatient book, and we have under 5 outpatient book. All of them were put in the right place. The floor sheets were organized. This is our receptionist, Lillian, and Quinta, who is an intern, together with a student being served. This other picture is also showing that the cleanliness that we did. Standardization, all our receptionists are well trained and we have no doubt of any being in the reception at any time because they will make our standard the level that it's always is. How are we going to sustain this? We thought the best way is to clean our reception maybe twice in a day and do the arrangement, because patients walk in and out every time, and the floor gets dirty. So that is the end of our presentation, unless there's a question.
So I like the way that your team focused on the way that this makes your patients feel, that you're focused on how they feel about coming to Matibabu. How does your staff feel about working in the environment now that you've gone through this project?
The staff are feeling nice because the environment is so clean. What they smell, what they feel. No one feels bad when they are in a clean environment.
Mhm.
Yes.
So an observation that I have, and probably you've been working in that room so long, I'm looking at that back wall, which is I believe the side of a container that the
Yes.
office was built around. And, this is the first impression people have coming into the facility. And I think, structurally, functionally, it extends what you can do, but it could be painted. And I think that because this is the first place that people go, I mean, you walk in every day, it's looked that way forever. You don't even see the fact that it says gold behind you. And there's no reason that gold has anything to do with the functions of this area. And, it's just left over from another era. And so maybe having cleaned everything else up, maybe now it's time to see, let's take another look at our environment. Maybe a coat of paint and a little shining, might help the overall look of it, because everything else looks beautiful. But to me as an outsider, I see that wall behind you and I'm like, that doesn't fit into this picture. Everything else is so clean and organized. That kind of looks a little out of place. So maybe that's something you need to work with your team on and come up with and ask for your leaders to say, maybe we need a little bit of support for the work we're doing to create, because it's to create that impression for the patient and have them trust the institution and trust people who are there more by the way things look.
Sure.
It's funny when you were showing that picture, Lucy, someone from your team said, we should paint that wall. So it's not just us on the, on the outside. And one thing that I think is great about just having these conversations is it kind of makes a roadmap for Julius and Dan and people who are thinking about, okay, what things need to be painted? Like when you're around it every day, you don't see it the same way as someone from the outside, or, when you pause to look at it. And that's the beauty of getting these kinds of reflections. But I want to say it's so welcoming, and if there is even like a something that people cherish that you could put on the top of the desk. People are coming in and they're sick and they're, maybe a little afraid. Sometimes a plant, if that's calming to people, or, if you have a little stuffed animal, I guess you got to be careful because you don't want to pass the stuffed animal too much between children, but, something for a child, or a little poster that has a Mickey Mouse, or I don't know what item might be comforting to people when they come in. This is their first impression. So it's just beautiful that you have organized it so well. And you've got some places you can continue to grow, it sounds like.
One thought also to tie those two together is one good thing leads to another. when you showed the before picture, you don't really notice the wall because there were heaps of things everywhere and it just sort of all, it all fit. But then the desks are beautiful and clean. And then all of a sudden you say, whoa, I caught that eye. I wondered if gold did mean something, but I said, yeah, the wall now catches your eye. You paint the wall and then all of a sudden on your way to the pharmacy, you'll say, wow, that hallway needs now the same. Good things lead to other good things, but it's beautiful.
One of the other projects that admin is working on quite a number of projects. One of the new projects that they are working on, and probably they'll share with us photos of the next time, is the children's playground. This is our CEO's idea. When it's fully done, we promise to share photos. So in the interest of time, let's move to our next presenter. Our next presenter is the lab team led by Langat.
Yeah, just
Dan,
before
Okay.
Langat presents, I also wanted to mention that the place was full of broken items, especially the furniture. So all that clutter has been sorted and removed. So all the broken chairs were all removed by yesterday. End of yesterday, all broken chairs were gone, just for your information.
Langat, you're already sharing your screen. You can take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Geoffrey Langat, and I am presenting on behalf of Beryl Nyamulo, who has a challenge with network connectivity, but she's online. The team is made up of myself as the lab in charge. Then we have Kevin Aluko, who is the deputy lab in charge, as well as the quality assurance officer. Beryl Nyamulo is our new cleanliness champion in the lab. We have Margaret Oyaya, who is our commodity manager. We have Kevin Obiero, who is our HIV and TB focal person. Then we have Evans Mbago, who is the Gunja lab focal person. We also have Murina Nyeni, who is the Sega lab focal person. Now, our approach to this presentation is following the last training on the 5S, which I have listed them down, both in the Japanese language and the English language. I would prefer the English language because some of these pronouncements are not comfortable to where we come from. So we quickly have the sorting, systematic arrangement, shining, standardizing, and sustaining. So this is how things look like before we started implementing the project. I just picked one of what I considered was the worst case scenario. The team had already prepared quite a lot of slides, but we narrowed down to one for the interest of time. So this is part of the lab which we considered was the worst organized. And so you can see at this corner, we have a bench which has a lot of cartons, both useful material and those which are not useful. When sorting was done, this is how it looked like. What we have now are all those items that are in use. Then arrangement. Before a systematic arrangement, this is how the office looked like. You can see the cabinet there, which has a bag and a helmet and a jacket. Now this cabinet is regularly being used. And so each time you have to use, you have to go bending. For safety rules and guidelines in the lab, we should minimize bending. And so what we did was to bring the bench that was bringing cluttering in the initial slide, and brought it and then raised this cabinet, so that now each time you need to use this cabinet, you don't have to bend. And so this is how it looks like at this moment. Then for purposes of cleanliness of the lab, every lab has always this label on every wall, reminding each staff that they should keep their work area clean. So whether or not it is announced or not, it is always there that we have to keep our work area clean. Now, how do we sustain this cleanliness? Now, this is a typical evaluation form that we use on daily basis for ensuring that our benches or the lab is clean. Now, this is a bench decontamination sheet for the month of September. So each time cleanliness is done, the person doing the cleanliness must chart this decontamination sheet just to show that actually the process has been done. Now, even if you have a new staff will easily follow this procedure on daily basis, because this sheet has the standard procedure of how to prepare the decontaminating reagent and what to do. So everyone can be able to do. However, new does not require orientation. You just look at the chart on the wall and you follow the instruction, and you will be good to do the whatever. So to ensure this cleanliness is maintained in the lab, cleanliness in the lab is a daily activity. If the first thing in the morning, the person coming in for the day shift starts by cleaning the benches. All benches are decontaminated every morning and every evening during the change of shifts using the 0.5% household bleach, which is the recommended, current recommended decontaminant for lab benches. And the maintenance chart must be marked. Same applies to the equipments. All equipments as well are cleaned on daily basis using 70% alcohol. Now, each equipment again has its own maintenance chart. Probably if you can see my background, you can see one of the equipments with a blue sheet. That is a maintenance chart for the equipment. So every equipment in the lab has a maintenance chart to ensure that cleanliness is done and maintenance of that equipment is done. Now, floors are always mopped once daily by the cleaners, and occasionally it is done several times, especially during the rainy season when the floor gets dirty frequently. So it is cleaned many times. Now, as far as ensuring that this is maintained, or this cleanliness is maintained, we have a lab organogram where each staff knows what to do and at what time and who to answer to. So that is our lab organogram. And this is a duty roster for all the lab staff. So each morning when somebody comes to the lab, he or she knows which bench to go and what to do in that particular bench. So this is how we ensure that there is cleanliness and there is work progressing in every bench of the lab on daily basis throughout the month. Now, as we are also maintaining our standards in terms of documentation, the lab maintains the standard operating procedures for all tests, including cleaning. The lab is always an area of procedures, and procedures have to be documented so that any new person coming in should just look at the document. So the lab adheres and maintains those standard operating procedures for both the tests and for the bench decontamination and the equipment. For sustainability, this is one that we want to thank the organization for doing. It has maintained the constant supply of cleaning material. We have our 3.5% household bleach. We have the local detergent. We have soap for washing hands. what we can still do in order to improve cleanliness, if you look at this bench, this is a wooden bench. So wooden bench are not appropriate for a lab because it absorbs water, and then you can see the paint coming out. And so what needs to be done here in order to maintain the standard of cleanliness is to replace such wooden benches with concrete benches. Look at the roof of the lab. This is also one of the areas which probably affects our cleanliness. This roof retains a lot of dust. And so it requires fixing of a ceiling board. Then paint the outside and inside of the lab. This is how our lab has served its age, and it requires refurbishing and repainting. And then last but not the least, offer recognition and reward the outstanding cleanliness. And that is it for the lab. For the little time we had, we would have spoken more, but in the interest of time, we narrowed down to this one. And if you have any question or comment, you are welcome to do so. Thank you very much.
It's a great job of covering the sustainability. I think the fact that lab has so many procedures and you're used to doing that, I think it looks like you've applied that very well to this. And you know, your areas look very good. And once you clear off all those tables, then you notice that it's really the surface, the concrete surface is what you need to make this. But when it's covered with stuff, you miss that. You miss even seeing it. It's hidden behind everything else. So excellent work. And I know you've had a long tradition of cleanliness and effectiveness in the lab. And I think this is just going to keep things moving in that direction even further. So great work.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, Jeffrey, I particularly like sort of the chain of responsibility. There is a task, and there's a person assigned to the task, and then there's a person that checks that the task got done, because we all get busy and we forget. And if you want to be reliable, that's what it takes. I think that was particularly impressive in the work you've done. You've got that all charted, and I see that you actually do it. There's the sheet and there's the check mark, and you know you've done it. That's reliability and safety. That was very impressive, I thought.
Thank you.
And the ceiling, do you need like a drop ceiling? Is that what you were describing? Something so that you just don't get up into the rafters and there's dust and accumulation up there? Do you need like a suspended ceiling? Is that what you were describing?
Really, it should be just a horizontal ceiling for the entire lab.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, I just want to comment on all of the presentations. This is really excellent, exceptional work. And the fact that you were able to get so many areas mobilized at the same time and basically get everybody in the organization working in the same direction. This is what quality improvement is about. It's not one person doing a little thing over here and another person. It's everybody knows this is going on. Everybody's participating, and the results are quite dramatic. And I don't know if you have opportunities to present your work at any conferences in Kenya or in your region of Africa. This is the kind of work that would impress people, and I think is worthy of considering where you might go to learn from others and also to share the work that you're doing because it is so outstanding. And this is going to be a great foundation for future projects that will grow out of this, but excellent work all around, and things, in a very short time, extremely dramatic results.
Yeah, Bill, can I add to that as well? I did this work in America for excuse me, 4 or 5 years, I've never seen anybody do this kind of work this quickly. Usually in America, you know, you present and then a couple months later, you try to see if someone will maybe do something, and 4 or 5 months later, you get something. You all have, to be honest, I expected maybe 1 or 2 people would say, well, we met once or twice and we thought about it. This is, I'll be honest, I'm stunned by how much you've done in a month's period of time. I did not expect this in any way. You don't see enough other places to realize how incredibly dramatic this is. I'm absolutely blown away.
Me too.
My
I'm
Babu
really excited.
Foundation is a learning organization. So you're bound to see more and more of such.
If you keep on this trajectory, in a little bit, you're going to come over here to Americans, tell us how to do our stuff. I tell you what.
Right. Yeah, this is terrific. And Dr. Morgan has had to step off. He has a patient and he asked me to introduce the next person. So the next group is going to be Steve Ogola, and Euphrasia, I think, is presenting the project. And Tara maybe can help me with some of the photographs Euphrasia brought. There we go. Euphrasia, are you with us?
No, it's going on. It was so good. Very, very good. Very good. Yes, yes. Now I can even hand over to you. I'm not muted.
Hizi ni zetu.
Are we showing the right ones? Do you want us to? Do you want to show them yourself, or you want us to share them with you?
Hello.
Hello. Euphrasia.
Hello.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Oh, yeah. These are my photos. The other one, this one is the after picture. That one's the before. Okay, this is the drug preparation area where we keep our syringes, gloves, needles, patient medications, IV fluids, and such stuff. So you can see in this photo that there's a lot of clutter. There are boxes, there are bags, helmets, just many things everywhere. So yeah, let's go to the next photo. Yeah, now in the after photo, we took the bags, all the clutter, the things that were not being used or just didn't need to be there at that moment. We removed them, took them to the right places. Now we have the syringes there, the needles, the trays for carrying the medications. Also inside the cabinets where we put the patient drugs, we arrange them. The IV fluids, the files down there, well arranged. Next photo. Oh, there. Now this is also an extension of the other room. Now this is the front part where we receive our reports and we have the computers. You can also see in this before photo, there's a lot of clutter, like too many sharp boxes there, files everywhere, things everywhere. So yeah, we reduced the number of sharp boxes to the needed at the moment. The files were arranged accordingly to the inpatient, the discharges, also the books that we use for the reporting. They're also placed in order just there behind the computers. Yeah. Basically, that was our project. It's a continuous process. We'll continue on improving on it and working on it. Madam Kumbara.
Fraser, do people like working in that new workspace? It looks so much more welcoming.
Yeah.
And this is
And
right
it-
inside the new inpatient ward. This is in the new inpatient ward, yeah?
Yeah.
One thing I
Yeah.
noticed was in several of the reports that people don't have a place to put their jacket or their helmet or their backpack. Maybe we need to get some hooks, you know, where people could easily just put their clothes and they're there for them during the day and they can get them at the end of the day. I don't know. One suggestion. I saw that in Jeffrey's in Lynotte's place as well. People need an area to put their personal belongings, right?
Yeah.
Are there other people who weren't involved in this project who use the area, or are you the only ones who are in this area?
The area, mostly the nurses use it, but also in the working area, the clinicians also come at times because they need the, let's say, like cotton and cannulas to fix on the patients. So it's a work area that is accessed by all the clinicians, medical officers, almost everyone, but the greater part of it is nurses.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think for the sustainability, it might be good to get feedback from the other people who use the space about what, you know, if there's any challenges or issues for them or anything that they would like in it. And also just to share, you know, the intention to keep things clean. So if other people come into the area, that there's expectations of them to, you know, put things back where they belong, and they really need to understand what's going on. Otherwise, you know, somebody's always going around cleaning up after somebody else. It feels that way. Whereas if you get their input and say, what do you need to help us keep this area clean and orderly? Do you understand the organization? Then I think you know, have a much better chance of them being helpful in keeping the environment versus a challenge to keeping the environment as clean and organized as it is.
Okay, thank you.
Terrific. Any other questions or comments for you, Freja and Steve? Yeah. And you guys also did that great model that Steve did in how to improve the crash cart. And so your team is really leading the way. So thank you so much for all your hard work. Are there any other teams that are reporting today? I think that that is it for today as far as the different reports. Is that right, Dan?
I have seen the message you have shared with me, Diane.
Yes.
The college is unable to present because they had some assessment. And so today, even today, they were not able to attend. For Ugunja, I think Morgan today was working in Ugunja. They must be busy. Yeah, so I don't think there's a presentation for them, but it's the same, more or less the same thing for nursing, because Euphrasia and Steve Ogola manages nursing even for Ugunja, and Dr. Morgan and Nyamoita or Phyllis also oversee what happens there.
Great, great.
The only other entity that should have presented was college, but they're busy.
Okay.
Was Collins, did you say?
The college.
No,
Oh, the college. Okay, great. Great. Well, Dan, would you like to, Bill, Dan, Mike, any last comments? What an amazing day. This has been really exciting for me. And I just want to thank all of you for your hard work. Your presentations were really amazing. And this has always been something that I was looking forward to hearing and just getting to know the teams better and seeing how you own your work and the pride you have is really, really amazing. So I just want to open it up for our closing remarks from the three of you. Maybe Dan, you close, Bill, Mike, and then Dan.
Maybe I can start and I'll close as you
Okay.
have requested. It's very amazing to see what we can achieve as a learning organization. And it is important that we remember three fundamental questions that targets aim, measures, and changes. For the aim, what are we trying to accomplish? I think this is not a one-off thing. So we should constantly be asking ourselves, what are we trying to accomplish? It shouldn't be a one day thing. It should be continuous. Then for the measure, we should be asking ourselves, how will we know a change is an improvement? And so with that, we are always concerned about outcome measures, where that targets about where are we ultimately trying to go. The process measures, are we doing the right things to get there? And the balancing measures are the changes we are making to one part of the system causing problems in other parts of the system. So it's more of system kind of thinking. Then finally, the changes. What changes can we make that will result in improvement? Of importance is the 5 useful ways to develop changes. That is critical thinking, benchmarking, using technology, because now we need also to loop in Collins, the IT department, and see how technology can help us, probably in inventory management, creative thinking, and change concepts. Yeah, so with that, coupled with the PDSA that is in the admin office, I think I have one at college, and there is one also in either Morgan's office or something. So if we put all those together, I think we can continuously improve. And Mike was right. We can go and share this with in some conferences of what a change can be, how simple steps can lead to a major change. Thank you.
And I just to add to what Dan has laid out, I mean, that's the plan for quality improvement. And the one thing that I think there's a great opportunity here to offer to the staff is the opportunity to celebrate the successes of what's gone on and giving people recognition, these teams recognition for the work that they're doing. It feels good to complete the work, but it's even more validating when others around you recognize it, and doing that within the organization. So, you know, as you're rounding through the organization and you're seeing the change, giving awards or commendations to teams of people, recognizing the teams that have done this work and the outstanding work they've done. And I really think that when we have the large team that's going to make a visit of our outsiders, I think that it's very important to celebrate the accomplishments at that time and to give people the recognition for what's going on. This is really incredible work, and people need to feel proud of it and feel, you know, feel that they have made a difference. And you get part of that every day at work, but also, you know, we can add to that feeling, and that's what gives people the motivation to dream up the next project. You know, it isn't us from the leaders. The next project may be dreamed up by any one of the people on any one of these teams who has an idea of how to make the organization better and more effective. So outstanding work all around.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. I would say I'm going to go away for the whole week and feel great about the work you guys have done. And I hope you feel that way for the whole month. I hope you maintain that sense of honesty about what needs to be done and the empowerment to go and fix it. And the one thing I would say, if you get stuck and you have a good idea, if you need paint, if you need something that you don't have, please surface that to someone who can help you, because that's, I can't imagine that, well, I feel sure you will get the help that you need. So please don't stop. You guys are incredibly inspiring.
All right, with that, Dan Ogola, do you have any last words? You outlined very much kind of the thinking for today. You have any last words here that you'd like to share? Otherwise, we will close for the day.
To my colleagues, we can do it. If we put our heart there, we can do it, and we do it to the benefit of our patient. So thank you so much for the time and effort you put into making this day a successful day. Thank you so much. Thank you. And on my behalf and TIBA, thank all those people within your departments that participated in making this change happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay. Big hand to everyone. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Mike, Bill, Lydia,
Thank you, everybody.
Lynette, Dr. Morgan, Felix, great presentation. Thank you to all the people who had to leave but gave great presentations as well. So it was fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Morgan, for leading this group as well. All right, we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.